Hi, Mr. Rajan Lal.
How are you, Asim?
I'm
Nice
doing
to see
great.
you.
I'm doing
Yes.
great. And from where we started,
Yeah.
we have reached to the chapter 21
Okay.
of your amazing life journey that you call I Did It My Way.
Yes.
Okay. So let me take you down memory lane
Okay.
and let's play this game that I'm going to quote a heading from a newspaper that was the Daily Glamour, published on Sunday, May 15th, 1994. And the heading said that Mr. Rajan Lal has dubbed his way to success. So let's shed some light upon it.
Uh, I think I remember that headline when I read it. I was very happy. It dubbed his way to success. It was my entry into Bollywood mainstream.
So there's an aircraft and there are people hanging,
And
and you are at the driving seat.
there was a cartoon in that
Yes.
in that magazine, trade guide or whatever that was, and there was a trade guide in the magazine was a plane flying, and
You're the pilot.
I'm the pilot,
Yes.
and there are three producers from
Hanging
Bombay
on the other
hanging on the
sides.
plane on each side, and wanting where is Rajan going next, and I was heading for Chennai, for Madras in those days.
Madras.
And as they're all hanging on to it, he said, "We're going to latch on to the bandwagon, so to speak."
So it's such an amazing feeling to know that you
So,
still have that crystal clear, sharp memory that you
yeah,
always.
I remember that very, very clearly. This art, and I was it for me. It was a great feeling to get to be put on a cartoon like that, a cartoon sketch, which was there, which they did, because that was my sign of saying that I'm doing something right. And to prove all the critics and the pundits of the Bollywood industry wrong, that what is this man doing dubbing films, and you think he'll be able to compete against mainstream commercial films. But I proved them wrong in some way, because at the end of the day my bottom line was much better than theirs, for the amount of money spent by them towards the return versus the amount of money which I spent, which was small, to the returns I got. So for me, it was a win-win situation. For me, it was a great feeling of success. And
And if I recall correctly, correct me on my statement, that you are the pioneer of dubbing industry in Bollywood side.
well, I would say I am the pioneer of the dubbing industry on the Bollywood side, but later on, I also became the pioneer of dubbing of Hollywood side. Because when things got more expensive, and when the South producers saw that there's money in their South Indian films which are being dubbed in Hindi, they're starting upping the price, raising the prices, and some of the producers who didn't figure out the mathematics of it, how it would work. And I think the highest film that was sold in South was Bombay, which was bought by Jammu Sugandh and ABCL for whatever 2.5 crores or whatever the film was sold for. Because I was also in the bid for it, and I had done all other Mani Ratnam's films. I dubbed all his films, and we were very close friends. But somehow the other things
And
didn't work
that's
out for Bombay.
called as a dubbing war in those days. That was dubbed as, and
It
and
it
this that's by the way another heading in the newspaper. That was another snippet of the newspaper that I saw, that said there was a dubbing war between you and Mr. AB.
uh,
So
But AB was not in the front line. He was in the background. He had Jammu Sugandh, another very famous and film producer and financier, a very nice man. He's no more now. But what was happening. There was actually a bid and an auction happening for it at that time, and rightly so, because he wanted it, I wanted it, and I thought I had it, because my relations with him were so good. I had signed nothing with him on paper. Everything I did was on a handshake, but that didn't happen, and it missed out. But good luck.
2.5 crore
Yes,
at that point in
at
time
that point of time.
is a huge sum by any
Yes,
means.
yes. And the music of that film, which was Rahman's film, also went to Universal Music for a very big sum.
Oh wow.
Right. And I think I beat that sum of music of Bombay when I had bought a film called Lovebirds. And I had bought Lovebirds at that time with Rahman music, Prabhu Devan Nagma, the same combination of the old film of Muqabla, that one. And I sold the music of that film for, I think, 1 crore.
Wow.
And I had bought that film for 35 lakhs. So these are the figures which I'm talking about now. It's been nearly 25, 35 years or so.
35 years.
But I'm talking of those figures in those days, which was amazing. Imagine buying a film for 35 lakhs or maybe, and selling only the music for 1 crore.
And just
And
to put a
then
time
leaving all
stamp,
the other territories, overseas territories, satellite, everything else aside. Though the film was not a success, it was a failure, but the music of it, because of Rahman and Prabhudev and Nagma, was a great combination. So I did that. But then there's a story to that too, Asim. How I reacted with the behavior of Universal Music head Peter Lazarus that time. And that's a story by itself, which I'll talk about later on. It's a very interesting story, which nobody knows about, but I will talk about it because it's been so many years now. Good luck to the guy. But that's another subject which we'll talk about.
so we'll touch base. One last thing. Tell us about this Lal Salam.
Lal Salam, I don't know, the media people, how they mention is dubbing his way to success and Lal Salam, all these titles which they gave me in the press and the media was, I
You
don't know,
discovered something which they did not think about.
Yeah.
So it was something that drastically changed the outlook of that cinema and took it to a higher masses.
Yes. I think Lal Salam was something as more of a rhyming thing. You know, Lal Salam,
Lal Salam.
kind of rhymes and matches.
But it's a tribute. It's in all
definitely-
honesty.
Yeah, it was
Tribute
like
to
a-
your
it was-
tribute
it was-
to your creativity
Yes.
and your grit and your vision that one day
Yeah.
we switch on Netflix today and we see a movie and we have the choice of 5 to 7 languages and
Yeah,
subtitles
yeah,
and everything.
Yeah.
In the subcontinent, you were the pioneer of it.
Yes.
And we're talking, just to put a time stamp on things, this is the first week of 2025. First month, first week, and we are quoting something in 1994.
Yes.
And that's where you started. And you still have crystal clear memory of that.
I have crystal clear memories from 1950s when I host Ramala tha. When I was writing my book, it took me 4 years. And I was sitting with Manju, my editor and writer of the book. And I was just speaking out. And I had no references, no notes, no nothing. All I had was a memory of my mother's albums which were left behind, photographs from 1920. And I was just going through them, and I remember what my mother told me in those days because I was too young. And then the photographs which followed, but I remembered every detail of my teens, my school days, my college days, my struggling days, my jobs with Siva, with Bayer, how I got into the business of my ITL interlining, to my journey of movies in the 90s, to my journey of leaving India for whatever reasons, very clearly to my coming to Dubai in 2000 for the last 25 years. I remember every journey by heart, even today.
And there's a lot of lessons in there for us, for everyone who interacts with Mr. Rajan Lal. That book is an great piece of introspection, not only for you, but for all the people who actually go ahead and read it. And we are looking forward to having our own copies and getting to know that person in much more detail.
Definitely.
And all the lessons that we can learn from that.
Asim, let me ask you a question. I've known you for a number of years now. Tell me something about your experience or interaction with me.
In all honesty, and I'm sure this is going to be cut, that the distance from your door to your favorite chair is around 35 meter, something like that. and the BS has to be left at the door. When you walk into the door and you interact, anybody who gets to interact with you, the BS has to be left back there. You have to hang that coat of BS at the door, and
Yes.
you just walk in. Uh, a true dose of honesty, integrity, and that friendship that I've come to see in that house and come to experience myself in that house has been amazing. And that I say to people who have the privilege, and I would call it a privilege, and I'm very careful in the choice of my words, the privilege of interacting with you, the people who become close to you, they're very lucky to have you in their lives as a mentor. For me, you are the Guruji and you are a mentor. But for people who get to interact with you, they should thank their lucky stars. They did something right in their life.
Thank you for your views, Asim. I really appreciate it. But it's a kind of an instinct, which I have developed over the years. It's called a sixth sense. You may call it intuition. You may call it whatever. But I can study a person within 10 minutes of talking to that person, whether the person is a fake or a genuine. And this is something inbuilt in me. I don't know, God gifts or whatever. It's experience which has taught me, because I've been betrayed so many times, cheated so many times. And
You had to learn it the hard way.
Yeah, in both my business dealings,
Personal and professional capacities.
and professional dealings, you've been. So you kind of prepare. It's like an armor which you prepare. It's to shield yourself and secure yourself from anybody trying to get to you or get to hurt you.
अभी ये आएगा, इसको भी मैं देखूंगा.
अभी
इसको मैं देख के बताऊंगा.
So it's very, very, it's a self-protection thing. And even in my businesses, when I ran, they were all run by me, and even today run by me exclusively. And we're having such a large expansion of having 5 factories here, 5 factories in India, whatever I was doing, movie making. I had to prepare a shield for myself for protection against anything that is. So I was looking into every detail, nook and cranny of everything, whether it was finance, purchase, accounts, releasing, everything detailed, even to the point of dubbing. When I started dubbing, and my Mr. Sharma, Mr. Mishra, who was the dubbing dialogue writer and the super director, I used to stand near Asim 1 foot from the screen. It's a 2.5-hour film. I used to stand 1 foot from the screen to watch the lip sync, because Tamil is spoken very fast.
So it's not out of sync.
And the Hindi dialogues which were written by Mr. Mishra at that time, and Mr. Sharma was the director. He was sitting outside there and I was standing at the screen. He said, "Rajan ji, आप क्या कर रहे हो? आप इधर बैठो, ये मेरा काम है." मैंने कहा, नहीं, ये lip sync गड़बड़ हो गई तो movie पे गड़बड़ लगेगी. I used to stand there and personally support, ये word change करो, ये word lip sync, the closing and opening of the film. Was even to that detail, I was standing there and getting it done till the picture was complete. And I used to see it again to see, and I used to redo the shots. I mean, that kind of detailing, it's the passion. It's just a passion which I had. I did it for fun, but I enjoyed it. The 8-10 hours in the recording studio watching the dubbing, artist dubbing, and me standing there to do it. For me, it was a great feeling. I can't explain it to you. For me, that was my adrenaline flowing.
It's such an amazing story to know. So tell us, sir, what can we expect for that chapter 22 that our viewers should look forward to?
I think our next chapter, what we're going to talk about is about my relationship or my interaction with Steven Spielberg's company. When I had dubbed Ramayana, I had a film called Ramayana, which I dubbed. It was a Japanese filmmaker, Yugo Sako, who had made it. It took him 10 years to make this film. Again, a film ahead of its time when I bought it. Like I was saying, I was ahead of time for everything. This was a film ahead of its time. It was an animation film made by Yugo Sako, a Japanese maker, on Ramayana. Can you imagine that whole thing?
Yeah.
And when I really saw the film, I wanted it, I bought it. We dubbed it in 5 languages, and the reaction which we got was not that great at that time, those years.
That was way ahead of its time.
Way ahead of its time, because he showed Ram and Sita as slightly brownish people. You know what I'm saying? The animation, they were not white.
White,
They were not fair.
white enough.
And that kind of, I think, something they didn't like. But I had Amrish Puri dub the voice of Ravan, I had Kamal Hassan dubbing the voice of Ram, everything. We did all that tam-jam. But somehow it didn't work. But eventually, Kamal also he was a partner with me, and Sham Shroff, Bala Shroff were partners with me. So we released it in Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Hindi, English, everything. But in spite of all that, it was not the money so much. And then we broke it into series and released it on television as Ramayana animation, which worked well for us. And we didn't lose money, but we made money. But that's not the point. The point is that this Ramayana film, what it did for me, as far as Steven Spielberg and his company concerned, is an episode which we'll talk about, which is very
later.
interesting later on.
So on that note, sir, we'll call it a day.
Yes.
And from continuing from 1994 to 2025, another Lal Salam.
Lal Salam.
Take care.